Morning Year 6, here is your maths starter for Thursday. 4 fractions questions for you to have a go at. So you might want to pause the video now, have a go at these 4 questions and then restart the video and I'll tell you how you should have solved them. Okay, so let's have a go at solving these fractions problems. So if we have a look at this first one, it's a multiplication of 2 fractions, 3/8 multiplied by 4/5. Now we could have drawn this out into a grid and shaded them like we've looked at in class, but it's quite time consuming. So if you remember the procedure for this, it is 3 times by 4, we're multiplying the numerators together, 3 times by 4, which is 12, multiply the denominators together, 8 times by 5, which is 40. If you've got that as an answer, that's fantastic, but this answer can be simplified. So if we were to half the numerator and to half the denominator, it gets us to 6/20. We can do that again, can't we? We can half 6 to get to 3, we can half this to get to 10. All these 3 answers are equivalent to each other. Now, there's one way we could have got to this a little bit quicker, one step quicker, seeing what number goes into 12 and 40. What number has 12 and 40 in both its times tables? That highest number, and it is 4. So what we could have done is we could have divided, not by 3. We could have divided both of these by 4, 12 divided by 4 to 3, 40 divided by 4 gets us to 10, so it's just one step smaller. It doesn't matter which of those answers you got because they're all equivalent to each other. Moving on to number 2 now. It's a whole number or an integer multiplied by a fraction, so 8 multiplied by 2/3. So procedurally what we could have done here, we could have done 8 times by 2, the whole number times by 2 gets us to 16, and the denominator stays the same. What we could have done is could have turned this 8 into an improper fraction, and then it turns it into the same procedure as the first step. 8 times by 2 is 16, 1 times by 3 is 3. If you got this as an improper fraction as your answer, that's absolutely correct, but let's simplify it by converting it into a mixed number. So how many 3's go into 16? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, we can't go higher than that, so it is 5. What's the difference between 15 and 16? It is 1, 5 and a third. Remember, it doesn't matter which of these answers you put. If you put both, very well done. It doesn't matter which one you put though, because they are both identical. Moving on to number 3, converting that number to an improper fraction. So this is a mixed number at the moment, it's 3 and 3/7, so converting it into an improper fraction. So remember, we have 3 wholes here, and then we have 3/7 as well. So procedurally, we need to do 3 times by 7, which is 21. Add on the 3, takes us to 24. The denominator stays the same because it's how many 7s we have. 3 and 3/7 is the same as 27/7. Moving on to number 4 now, it's an addition. Now remember, when we add or subtract fractions, the denominator needs to be the same, because otherwise we don't know what our answer is going to be as in a denominator. If we were just to go ahead and start adding now, it would turn our answer into 9/11, which we know is absolutely incorrect because the denominator, neither of the denominators is 11. We need to convert these denominators so they are both the same. So we need to be looking for a number that is both in the 8 times tables and the 3 times table. So remember, though, you will always find an answer by multiplying the denominators together. Sometimes it will be the lowest denominator, sometimes it will not be. So if we were to do it in this case, 8 times by 3 is 24, and it actually is, in this case, the lowest common denominator. So what have I had to times this 8 by to turn it into 24? I have to times it by 3, so I need to do the same to the numerator. So we have 7 times by 3, which is 21. What I've had to do to this 8 to turn it into 24 So what if I had to do this 3 to turn it into 24, if I had to times it by 8, so we need to do the same to the numerator as well. 2 times by 8 is 16. And now we can see the denominators are the same, so now we can do the addition. You might be able to do it in your head, but to double check, you can add them up using the column method. So we have 37. So the answer would be 37 over 24. This can be simplified again. If you have got this as your answer, you've left it at that, well done, because you've got it right, but it can be simplified. So how many 24s go into 37? I'll do the answer down here. It's 1. What is the difference between 24 and 37? It is 13 over 24, which cannot be simplified. So remembering that this answer and this answer here are identical to each other. It doesn't matter which one you put. Right, and we will now start our lesson, year 6.